Well, I know you've come up with 7 difficult personalities.
Yes.
Can you kind of give us a quick rundown of those 7? And maybe as we're listening, I kind of think, where do I fit in these 7?
Yeah, so I based these off of the 7 dwarfs
Oh,
from Snow White. I think that, those each of those dwarfs are named after, you have Doc, Happy, Sleepy, Sneezy, Bashful, Grumpy, and Dopey. And I think that defines them right there. Some different personalities you come up against. So yeah, that's how I named them.
you've got me kind of thinking like which one I fall into. And I think there's like 3 of them. I'm grumpy, sleepy some of the time. Yeah, that's really interesting because I wouldn't have thought of doing that, but that does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think we immediately think of like a difficult person as like, oh, they're grumpy or they're angry or they're hard to get along with. But a lot of times maybe they're difficult because of their work ethic or because they're a little too excited or too wanting to take the lead too much. Or maybe they don't put enough effort forward. So it's not always just like it's not always difficult like angry or grumpy. Mm-hmm. It's just difficult because maybe we work differently.
Yeah. Now, like, I'm an introvert, so could this even be like kind of the clash between introverts and extroverts? Because like sometimes I just want to be like, shut up and just give me some silence, please.
Absolutely.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Or I'm an introvert as well. And so I even know like pulling introverts, you have like Bashful, right? It's one of the 7 dwarfs trying to pull people out of their shell and getting them to contribute a little more.
Very interesting. Yeah, now I'm feeling conviction. Thanks a lot. Well, I know, and this is going to be especially true for introverts, but working with people with difficult personalities can often leave us feeling physically and emotionally exhausted. And when that happens, it a lot of times seeps into every aspect of our lives. How can we avoid feeling drained by difficult people?
A good nap. No, I'm serious.
Language, yeah.
I'm serious. I mean, Sundays, I know for me personally, Sundays are physically taxing after ministering all day and being on, so to speak. And so going home and taking that Sunday nap is a good reset for my day and reset for the week. But beyond just a nap, a Sabbath, a rest, making sure that you have that one day a week where you are off from ministering, off from working, where you're resetting yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and also setting boundaries. So making sure that that day you aren't taking calls, you aren't, working, and setting that boundary to have that time of rest.
For people that, maybe people in ministry, people in business that have a tough time saying no, mm-hmm. How can they set those boundaries without feeling guilty about it? Because that's something I hear from a lot of times, that people want to say they want to set their boundaries, they want to make sure they protect their time or they protect their Sundays, but then something comes up, somebody says, hey, can you do this, do this? Well, I feel obligated because I need to help them. Is there something that we can do without, because it feels like either we do it and we get drained or we feel guilty for saying no. How do we balance that?
Well, I think we have to, we first look at Jesus. He took time to go away, spend time with the Father, to rest. If he needed a rest, then of course we do. If Jesus needed a nap, we of course need a nap. But also understanding, as a leader, you really have to have discernment in what constitutes an emergency and what can be taken care of during your work hours. People think that ministers are available 24/7. And a lot of times we are if it's a true emergency. But we need to have that discernment of, is this something I need to act on right now or can it wait?
Yeah, that's really good. Well, because we're fallen people living in a fallen world, and that's just the reality, we're always going to clash with others in some way. How can we love and lead properly, especially when it involves those people that really get on our nerves?
Yeah, staying humble is key, knowing that we're probably the difficult personality to some people, and we all have quirks and flaws, and so staying humble and knowing that we're not perfect, but also seeing people the way Jesus sees them is really important. Seeing them with all those flaws and everything, and Jesus still loves them, and he still uses us, right, with all of those quirks. And so seeing people with Jesus's eyes is really important.